I welcome you all once again to our e-learning program. This is Religious and Moral Education for JHS2, Form 2 Religious and Moral Education. And we have been looking at marriage and marriage rights. We look at customary marriage in Ghanaian communities. We look also at Christian marriage. Today we are looking at Islamic marriage, nikah. By the end of today's lesson, I'm expecting that the student will be able to describe the procedures for Islamic marriage rights, identify the activities involved in the nikah, and explain the purpose or benefits of Islamic marriage rights. Very important. Excuse me to do this correction, then we'll move on. Okay. Great. Islamic marriage right is based on the teachings of the Quran and it's a very important activity in the Muslim's life because Muslims believe that marriage is an institution that was established by God Himself between Adam and Hawa. And so Islam has laid down 4 conditions from which no marriage can be valid if one of the conditions is not fulfilled. And the 4 conditions for marriage in Islam are as follows. The first one is a mutual agreement, al-taradi. The al-taradi is a process of mate selection. According to the Quran, it is acceptable that a man looks at a woman carefully and examine her body carefully for the purpose of marriage. So a man can look at a woman, study her carefully, examine her body for the purpose of marriage, and it's accepted. And in the al-taradi, that is the arrangement of agreement between the man and the woman. Before any marriage is valid in Islam, the man and the woman should agree that they want to get married or they want to be joined together in holy matrimony. None should be forced. If one is forced into the marriage, then the marriage is not valid in Islam. Then 2 is matrimonial guardian, the wali. This is a person from the bride's family who is made to represent the bride in all negotiations. He sets out the marriage policies and agreements. And that person is supposed to ensure that everything that is done is in fairness and is in line with equality between the man and the woman. Usually the matrimonial guardian could be the father of the bride, the grandfather of the bride, or any other responsible person in the bride's family, usually male, who can stand in to take that position. He sets all the principles and agreements of the marriage, and after the bride price has been paid, the matrimonial guardian is the one who hands over the bride to the groom. Then the next one, the third one, is the doa, known as the sadak or mara. No marriage can be valid without the doa or the dowry. From the hadith, it is clear that Dowry is a very essential condition for marriage. Even the Holy Prophet endorsed the payment of dowry by the bridegroom to the bride and not to the father or any other relation. And the reason for this dowry is to improve the life of the bride. There is no specific amount or there's no fixed amount in Islamic laws as to how much should be paid to the bride as a dowry, but whatever the bride and the groom has agreed on should be paid. It is very important. Then the fourth one, without which any marriage is not valid, is the Shaddai Ide. Shaddai Adel. That is the presence of at least two irreproachable witnesses. So there should be at least two irreproachable witnesses in that marriage that can testify that yes, we witnessed this marriage and we are testimonies that this marriage is valid. If all these four conditions are met, then the marriage is valid in Islam. Unlike Christianity that does not endorse polygamy, in Islam, polygamy is allowed. It is not an obligation for a Muslim man to marry more than one wife or to marry two or more wives. It's not an obligation. It is not by force. It is not binding that because you're a Muslim man, by all means, you should marry more than one. No. But it is a permission. Muslim men are permitted to have more than one wife. And the teachings of Islam limit the number to 4. That is if you can afford. So when you read the Quran chapter 4 verse 3, it says, if you fear that you shall not be able to deal justly with the orphans, marry the woman of your choice, 2, 3, or 4. But if you fear that you will not be able to deal justly with them, then marry only one. So that is what the Quran says, that one can marry 2, 3, or 4. But if they cannot deal justly with all of them, that is, treat all their wives with fairness and equality, then it is better that they marry only one, so that they don't go into the temptation of treating some unfairly. Now, let's look at the procedure for Islamic marriage. Just like in any other marriage, mate selection is the first step. After they have selected their mates, that is, the man and the woman have agreed to marry, the next thing is family meetings and negotiations. Family meetings and negotiations. Then after the families have met and negotiated, the next thing is that a date is set for the payment of the bride price. After the bride price has been paid, then the wedding ceremony, that is the nikah, can take place. Usually, when it comes to mate selection, Muslims choose their spouses or their partners from among people with the same faith, that is, Islamic faith. Muslims are not advised to marry non-Muslims. In most cases, families select wives, suitable wives for their sons. But in liberal Islamic homes, the sons are allowed to select a partner of their choice. Then when it comes to family meetings, the man's family formally make the arrangements for the marriage proposal to the lady's family. And when they approve the proposal, both families meet at different times to discuss issues relevant to the marriage. And they do all necessary background checks around this time. Because Quran chapter 4 verse 23 speaks against incest, one of the most important things that Muslims check before entering into marriage is their family relations, whether the two families are closely related, so that they may avoid incest. And after that, the Islamic marriage ceremony called the nikah is held at a public place after the bride price is paid in full. And the bride price includes a lot of things, and sometimes it differs from one community to another. Some of the things that may be included in the bride price are cash, pieces of wax print or cloth, cola nuts, and then cowrie shells. These days, money and not cowrie shells. If the bride price has not been paid, then the marriage is not valid. And most of the things contained in the bride price are for the lady and not for the family. But as for the cola nut, all the family members share it among themselves to show that they agree to the marriage and they are witnesses of that marriage. Then the nikah or the wedding ceremony is done. Usually, the ceremony is officiated by an imam or a muezzin almost immediately after the payment of the bride price. The imam on the wedding day or at the nikah reads the 4th chapter or the 4th surah of the Quran and preaches the importance of marriage, the duties and blessings that it brings. The Imam reads the 4th chapter of the Quran and preaches the importance of marriage, the duties and the blessings it brings. And the Islamic leaders and elders present give pieces of advice to the couple after a prayer is said to invite Allah to grace the occasion. The Imam also says a prayer to ask for Allah's blessing on the marriage. Then the marriage is registered in the Islamic book. After the marriage ceremony, there is a wedding feast called walima. They sing traditional Muslim songs and dance to them, and friends and loved ones gift the couple. The bride is assisted by her sisters to pack her belongings and is escorted to her husband's house in the evening. Usually she wears a long veil called mayafi when she gets to the husband's house. Excuse me, let me make these corrections and I will move on. Okay. So sorry for that inconsistency there. So, like I said, the Imam reads the fourth chapter of the Quran and preaches about the importance of marriage, the duties that comes with marriage, and the blessings that comes with marriage. And the Islamic leaders and elders present will advise the couple. After that, a prayer is said to ask for Allah's blessings for the couple, and the marriage is registered in the Islamic book. In the Islamic book. After the marriage ceremony, there's a wedding feast called walima. They sing traditional Muslim songs and dance to them, and friends and loved ones are allowed to gift the couples. But the bride is made to go back to the parents' home and assisted by her sisters to pack her belongings. And later in the evening, she's escorted by family and friends to the husband's house and before she gets there, she puts on a long veil called mayafi. The wedding, that is the nikah, brings the two families together. It is very important. It also introduces the couple to the community because it's an official ceremony to show that they have married. So the whole community gets to know that the two are now married people. Then it also brings Allah's blessings on the marriage because prayer is said for the couples. And it creates an avenue for the marriage to be registered in the Islamic books. Because without a nikah, there will be no registration of the marriage. And also, the nikah promotes chastity because of the pride that comes with it. Every lady, Muslim lady, would want to stay chaste and go through the marriage rites before they get involved in sexual activities that may lead to pregnancy. I hope you have learned a lot today. As a test of your knowledge on what you have learned today, mention the 4 main components of Islamic marriage. Then 2, name 2 persons who can officiate an Islamic wedding. And then 3, identify 2 importance of wedding, that is the nikah. This brings us to the end of our lesson. Continue staying safe, and most importantly, keep learning. I wish you good luck. Bye-bye.